Hey there, Bixby developers. Today we'll be doing a result view tutorial again. This will be similar to my old result view tutorial from a few years ago, but 2021 version. And there are so many new things that Bixby has added since the last time I did this result view tutorial. And we'll be using a whole bunch of new bells and whistles to build our result view, as well as to see all the differences that have been implemented since then. So let's quickly demonstrate the capsule that we will be working with.
I found 7 pets that need some cuddles. Meet Moxie. Moxie works very hard every day to become Instagram famous. Shameless plug, at moxie.the.calico. After a tough life on the streets, she currently resides with her owner where she loves being irresistibly cute, seeing how long she can stretch a single meow, and playing fetch with her human. Moxie loves cuddles, watching birds, and punching her evil doppelganger in the mirror.
So the goal of this tutorial video will be to basically rebuild this view here, as well as the in-depth pet view once you click on a specific pet. And yeah, I guess we're going to go ahead and just get started. All right, so here I have the starting point of the capsule that we will be working with. Pretty much the previous capsule, but with the result views stripped out of it.
Here's what I found.
And if we take a look at it, we can see that it's just returning these default structures, and we actually can't even interact with them right now. So let's go ahead and really quickly familiarize ourselves with the data for this capsule. Right now it's just hard-coded pet objects, and we can take a look at both the model as well as the JavaScript. So the model itself, you can see that it's a structure. It's got name, image, which is required, and then images, which is additional images, and that is optional. Then we also have the biography of the pet, the species, gender, height, weight, age, interests, link, and link description, all as part or potentially part of the pet structure. Over in the JavaScript, we can see that we just have this in an array with a bunch of objects inside of it, and we can see that Moxie is the most fleshed out pet with every single key available to her, while some of the pets down below don't actually have full biographies, or they all have full bios, but they don't have Instagram links and links like that. So some of those are optional views. But we're going to go and first deal with this screen here. We want to be able to see preview pictures of the pet along with a little bit of detail as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We actually need to create a new view file right here by right-clicking there, and we're just going to name this pet.view.bxb and click create, and this will be a result view where we are going to match the concept pet, and we're going to render this, and we're going to start with if there are more than one pet. So if size of pets is greater than 1, then we display a list of pets where each pet, and we're going to create a layout macro for this called the pet summary with the param of pet and the expression of pet. So let me briefly explain what's going on here. Here we can see that if this structure that's returned, or if this concept that's returned, the pet concept has more than one pet, we will create a list of where we are basically renaming each individual item or each individual pet as just pet without the S. And finally, it will use the layout macro pet-summary to display. And this is just stuff that we pass in, where we will see it in the layout macro itself. Now for the layout macro itself, we're going to want to create new layout, and this is the pet summary.layout.bxb, and we're actually going to delete this whole thing and do layout macro def instead. And this here in the parentheses is the name of the layout macro, which is what is referred to right here in the pet summary. But we can see that it's throwing errors because we don't have anything here yet. The first thing you need to add are the params. So this is basically what gets passed in to this layout macro, and the type is the model that it's based on. And it is min required and max 1. We are only showing a single pet here in this situation. And now we need a content. And here is where it gets interesting. We can actually insert from component gallery now, and we're going to insert an image card. And it's going to have text overlaid on top, similar to this. And we can also preview. For example, this one has 2 different title slots, which is what we want. And we do want an on-click. We want the text to be overlaid. And finally, the image URL, we will end up replacing it ourselves. And last but not least, we want the aspect ratio to be 3:4, the object image to be cover, and the position to be center. And that will end up looking pretty good for this specific capsule with its specific images. And as we can see, it really did a lot to help fill in the stuff here. If you recall from earlier, we have the pet structure that's up here. So now we're going to want to adjust these a little bit. And the first thing we want to do is to align it a little bit better for a capsule. And actually, why don't we take a look and see how it looks so far? Make sure everything's actually working. There we go. But yeah, as we can see, we don't want the text to look like that. So we're going to want this title to be a lot smaller. And the value is going to be the pet's name. And in case you don't remember the specific syntax for this, you have to look up, I guess, Bixby expression language. So let's move on to the second line, where for the second line, we wanted to display, I believe, the species. And right here, let's see, we don't need to adjust the color. And we want this text to be much smaller. And we're going to have species. And we're going to add a spacer. And just use the default spacer. I'm going to add another text. Oh, actually, here we're going to want to actually insert an inline image instead of this text. And inside of this project, we have a few icons. So let's go ahead and take a look at those assets here. We see we have cat, dog icons, and we will just be referring to those. And since we know the species, we can simply refer to the actual species of the pet. And then we have the .icon.png. And we can just add a shape to this, make it a squirrel, make it a circle. And finally, we also want this to be the same size as the previous one. And lastly, we want it to be transparent because we want it to look in line. Okay, let's see if that actually works. I know that's throwing an error there. And there it is. It actually does work. So far things are going smoothly. And now we actually have to do the on-click. Right now, if you click on it, it is not happy with that because, yes, it doesn't know what to do on the on-click. So let's go ahead and add the on-click. Due to an update that happened, I guess kind of a while ago at this point, you actually have to specify what this view is for. And in this case, if we add the view for pet, we can see here now that it is giving us an empty view. So now that we actually finished this screen, we can begin to work on the next screen. And this next screen will display all the details of our pet. Let's go ahead and do that as well, at least get started on that. And now we are going back to this view file. Because here in this view file, we have specified if the size of pets is greater than 1, then we display the pet summary card for that pet. But now, if the size of pets is equal to 1, we will display something else. We will display the details for that pet. And here, why don't we actually just insert really quick an image, and the URL of this image will be the pet.image. And we're just going to see if this works really quick, and actually pets.image. We declared it as pets up there. And there we go. So now we have pretty much separated the pet summary card from the singular details page of a pet. And in the next video, part 2 of this video, we will be moving this into a layout macro as well as fleshing out the rest of the result view for the actual summary of the pet. There you go. Hopefully you found this video helpful and refreshing. This is basically a reshoot of the old result view tutorial with all the new updates, as well as this brand new Flex UI update, which has really changed the way that Bixby interacts with the user. Now it only takes up, the amount of screen that it needs to instead of your entire screen. And it really helps not break the immersion of the user. And I think it's a great upgrade to the UI for Bixby. And yeah, that's it.